Hello, hello! My name is Callista, and welcome back to Roottreemania. In the last episode, we completely filled in all of our new family trees. We locked in all of the potential... To be fair, nothing scandalous has gone on here. Y'all are alright. Y'all are perfectly fine. But these three, we have locked in all potential infidelities and the children that may have resulted from those, let's say, unions. Which means the mystery envelope, our last remaining secret, has been revealed. Now, Sam told us we need to find smoking guns. We need to find evidence and possible Roottree. These boxes are everywhere. Ooh, filling in this person is optional. Interesting considering this is a possible Roottree, but apparently it's optional. Now's the time to review all possible Rootrees and input your deductions. You'll then be able to end your search and reveal the truth. You have 13 possible Rootrees left to identify. So yeah, it's people directly related to the infidelities. Okay, so... Hold on a minute. I'm not the best at math, but I swear down I can do simple addition. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Is it because I mean... Oh! Well, I think I know what's going on here, because you can't possibly be a Roottree. You can't possibly be a Roottree because you, I think, have Huntington's. You are... This is just a... This is a lesson in irony. Wait a minute. Jacobson. Toasterito Jacobson, or whatever the... I'm having a moment. I'm having a moment because I want to concentrate on this, but I'm having a moment. Toasterito Jacobson's first name was okay, give me a minute. History. Where would this be? Give me. I need, please. I need the reminder. I need... We're going all the way back to the bloody beginning here. Where? I'm... Where the hell was this? No, but actually, where the hell was this? Okay, I think... Yeah. That... Okay. You find a link that seems to be a partial and corrupted list of archived articles from the Butler County Times. The article is cut off, but it mentions an Edith Jacobson and an arrest. You might be able to find that article somewhere. Okay, there's a crime... What the What is this? There's a Crime Blotter article about Edith Jacobson that also mentions a Helen Roottree. Who the hell is Helen Roottree? It's fine. I'm a search for you in a minute. And a Lucinda Jacobson. In 1971, when she was 18, Edith and her sister Lucinda were arrested for trespassing at the Miracle Congregation's church in Butler County. They were pretending to be church employees in an attempt to get into the room where the church houses their weekly tithings. The church didn't press charges. They were caught by Helen Roottree, who was there at the time, while her husband Miracle was away preaching. Helen Roottree was quoted as saying, "Jesus forgives, and so do we. The Lord works in mysterious ways, and I am confident he has brought these young women to us for a greater purpose." And then Miracle Jr. goes on to marry Edith, and no, that's not the right thing. And then Lucinda goes on to change her name to Toasterito, or whatever the fuck it was. Okay. So that answers that. So that you were bailed out. How are you even related? How are you even related? So you were bailed out by your sister-in-law? Half-sister-in-law? Okay, I'm having a moment. I didn't think I was gonna figure that out. I'm not gonna lie, I had kind of given up on that. I was just assuming, oh, that's probably your current fling, your current squeeze. No, I have never used the term squeeze in that way before, but fuck it, we're going with it. I thought that was your current squeeze, but no, it's okay. Okay, well that answers that, thank goodness. Oh, you haven't. We are missing clues here. I mean, we also have this. Let me actually look at this. A confusing development. After putting together the tree of potentially Rootrees, Clark and Sam appeared at your door together. According to Clark, Ruby Spratt, the company's lawyer, was throwing away the DNA samples from Bonnie Hudson. These were intended to be used to test new potential Rootrees. Something doesn't sit right with Sam, and the two of them ask for your help. They're hoping that with your evidence and understanding of the family tree, you could verify which people in the dotted boxes are almost certainly legitimate Rootrees. Tick. Very unlikely to be legitimate Rootrees, X, and which of them are too ambiguous to make a decision one way or another, question mark. Additionally, with the suspicion on Ruby Spratt, it's possible that some of her behaviours in the past have also been cast in doubt. A new section of the tree has been added for you to fill in. Okay. So we have this here. I mean, I think you have Huntington's, which makes it impossible. Do I want to go after the clues? How completionist do I want to be? Because I'm pretty sure that Ron isn't a Roottree. Or not biologically a Roottree. He's been a Roottree his whole damn life. He's been a Roottree his whole life, so it feels weird to say, oh yeah, you're not a Roottree. After getting to how many years of age, you're not a Roottree. Like, Gwen was his man. She raised him. That makes him a Roottree, but I guess biologically. Yeah, so it would be the same evidence for both of them. Do we have... We have one thing there. Here's the thing, I was saying this in it was either the last episode or the one before it. I think I may have made a very silly mistake with Anonymom. I assumed that this DNA test was legitimate. I assumed that there had been shenanigans with Felix Fellows, or whatever he's called. I assumed that there had been shenanigans there, but I had assumed that Anonymom's was legit. If Ruby Spratt was going to fuck with one, why wouldn't she fuck with the other? So I'm pretty sure that's what that one intuition bar is about. It's saying, A, go back and look at Anonymon. I feel... Have I... Did I search for, Roottrees? I'm pretty sure I have. So I guess maybe that just wasn't important. I'm pretty sure. This is one of the ones where I would literally just be getting the clues to fill in these. Because I am pretty sure you have Huntington's, which means you can't possibly be a Roottree. And I think you are a Roottree. Because we know for a fact that Gwyn was pregnant with you. There was that article, I think it was in Starlet, actually. Okay, maybe not. It was, yeah. Gwen was spotted in Paris holding a baby and visibly pregnant. We know she was pregnant with you. And you have... Yeah, you can't. You, like, I'm certain of that. I'ma leave that for now. Okay, right there. Okay, now... I'm thinking I'm gonna go from here to... Okay, we found all four. I think it's very likely that you are. I mean, we saw in the diary about God, we can just go and look. Yeah, she had a lisp. Gwyneth had a lisp. And if they were arguing about Beth, then that would mean she was actually saying Bess, but it was coming out as Beth. That still fucks me up. Elias, please remember Sam. Like, now she seems like a nice lady. Fuck you. I'm thinking, how would we... This is here for a reason. This is so long ago, and you're related to Elias. I mean, I guess theoretically you could DNA test against Miracle, but one, would he be willing to do that? And two, we'd be DNA testing, because you're dead. We'd be DNA testing, like, his kids. It's not like yeah, it's not like these where we're DNA testing against Bonnie, who was his sibling. We'd be having to DNA test against Elias's child and the person in question's kids. How does DNA testing work specifically? Can we... Do we have anything? That's not anything. Again, this... I'm just like, can we... DNA. Yeah, no. Yeah, this isn't an actual search engine. It's between these. I do think that Frank was definitely a Rootree, but how would we prove it? His kids against Elias. I think I'm gonna go with that. Because I do think he was, but I'm like, how would we even prove it? How would we even prove it at this stage? Okay, 2 out of 2. 6 out of 6, okay. Well, I mean, I don't think you're a Roottree. You're not a Roottree because Mary Beth, she went before what was it, United States Congress to talk about her journey with adoption. And if you were blagging that, if you were using that as a cover-up, I don't think you would be able to go before Congress and bullshit your way through that. I think she must have had some experience with adoption, mainly you. You, on the other hand, I mean, we have Miracle. We have Miracle. And I believe Miracle's sons are also alive. Yeah, you're definitely a Roottree, I think. Because this whole the whole basket baby story, that's the cover-up for you. You, I genuinely believe to be adopted. I'm gonna leave you. You are. Oh, hello. We're missing stuff here. We're missing stuff. But again, I feel very certain that you're not a Roottree. I think Ruby and David have been fucking about here. I think this is all bollocks. They were besties growing up in foster care, and they both hate the rich. And they've just decided, right, we can fuck over this family. Okay, 5 out of 5 for the pair of them. So you are a Roottree. You're the eldest. And then the younger of the two, you are not. Yeah, you were pregnant with him. Steve was a good dude. Steve was a good dude. He came back from the war and was like, hey, darling, don't worry about it. Like, you didn't know I was going to come back alive or not. Like, I don't blame you for moving on. Oh, what's this? You're pregnant? Don't worry. We can get married and we can raise the baby as our own. Like, Steve was a good dude. Steve was a good dude, and then they moved to Boston, and that's where Robert was born. We're missing 2 here. Here's what gets me. We have this whole, there's mention of IVF, and there is actually a page on IVF, and that worries me. I worry if something tricksy has happened here. This could be like, what was she called? Robin? The Australian girl that he was having an affair with? Where they hooked up, but they didn't have any kids. They could have hooked up, because we know that Jinyu, she had a thing for redheads. She really liked redheads. So they could have hooked up, and then a bit later she could have gone through IVF, and maybe she'd... Oh, it does seem weird that she'd decide to, you know... She'd decide to trick Guy into giving her money every year or every month, however long it was. Because she comes from a wealthy family. She has no need of his money. You know what, I do think I want more information here. I mean, to be fair, she does look mixed race. To me, at least, she looks like she's Chinese... a Chinese Caucasian, maybe? But again... that she could have gone through IVF and her donor was Caucasian. Like, you bring up this. This doesn't go into where was the IVF thing? There you are. Lang Jinyu, in China the family name comes first, so Lang is her last name, is a businesswoman currently running the Lang Thai textile company. She was recently listed in an article on a website written by and for women. The article, entitled Empowered, is about the recent rise of women entrepreneurs in China. The article states that due to her lack of brothers, she has a younger sister. Lang Jinyu took over as CEO of her family's company in 1992, after her elderly uncle was deemed unfit to run the company due to mental deterioration. This was apparently an extremely controversial move amongst the company's employees, and some of them, the article does not state how many, quit and wrote a letter stating she must have coerced him in his vulnerable state. Since then, the company has been performing well. Her nephew, who is currently her second in command, is expected to take over when she retires. In the meantime, the board's stance has been a twist on a popular proverb. The article roughly translates it as, someone that has proven they can do something well can do it 100 times well. An unproven leader could doom us all. The article also offhandedly mentions that Jinyu was an early adopter of IVF, which helped her sister have a child. So this is helped her sister have a child. So this is talking about Mark. Did I ever look you up in periodicals? Because, I mean, you're a business owner. Searching for Lang Jinyu separately brings up much fewer results than Lang Thai. Oh! Okay, in which case we can search for that. Brings up much fewer results than Lang Thai. Lang Jinyu was even featured in Business Watch in 1992. She missed out on Watchman of the Year, but did have a pretty sizable article that mentions some of her history. She was born in 1947, the first of 2 children. Her mother was already in her 30s when she had her, and had trouble conceiving a second time until 3 years later. This was Jinyu's sister. It became clear that her father was not going to have a son to pass the family business down to. This is how Jinyu became involved. Her father stayed the president of Lang Thai for a very long time, and his daughters grew up. He began training them in hopes that one of them would have a son who could take over. One helped him in China, Jinyu, and the other in the USA. Neither were given any official titles. When he died, due to societal dynamics, the business passed to his male sibling, a younger brother. Many in the know knew that this could be a problem. His brother, Jinyu's uncle, was not a businessman and was not much younger than his brother. During this time, Jinyu essentially ran the company as her uncle's consultant. He began to have problems related to dementia, and Jinyu, who had already been running things behind the scenes, performed somewhat of a power play. She stopped working until the results of her absence began to cause problems. Only then did they admit they needed her. Oh, I like that. I like that. That is... Lang Thai was mentioned in Business Watch fairly often in the last 20 years or so. There were a lot of articles about the rise of Chinese companies. Unfortunately, this makes the search results not particularly helpful. When you sought to find the oldest articles, however, one of the earliest mentions, from October 1979, stands out as very unusual because it doesn't involve Lang Thai's business. The article details a new, at the time, medical industry. In vitro fertilization was brand new, barely a year old. After the first successful IVF birth in 1978, it seemed the industry began to grow, and a featured article about different companies all over the world and the cost that they could charge for their services was in Business Watch. This included a few cases of high-profile customers willing to pay a premium. Apparently, at the time, the CEO of Lang Thai was Long Hung Bo, and his younger daughter, Lang Xinyao, and her husband could not have children. So, in an attempt to create a suitable heir, he paid Kwai genes to have their child implanted in his older daughter, who was unmarried. The cost of this was apparently 380,000 won, or just over 100,000 US dollars. Okay. Who, pray tell, are you? Oh, Key Genes, pronounced Key Genes, was a medical company with operations in both the US and China. They made international news in 1994 after a whistleblower came forward. Apparently their services were in some cases falsified. While they did often perform IVF, the whistleblower proved that a few of their customers paid for a very different service, an alibi. The company would claim they performed IVF on someone who was already pregnant to create a cover story for high-profile families who did not want to give up the child but did not want the shame of an unmarried mother. The whistleblower claimed that they had helped to do this at least 6 times, but only provided proof of one case, the daughter of an American politician who was unrelated to your investigation. Key Genes shut down soon after, and both founders have either reportedly fled to Lebanon, where there is no extradition to either China or the US. Okay. Because we know Ling Zhanyao, that's Mark's man. They could have kids. So this is all bollocks. This is the alibi thing. Okay, so with I think I'm gonna say that you are a blood relative. I do think you are Guy's child. And you just got your mum did the alibi thing with Key Genes. I'm interested. Question, do they? It seems... It looks like they have, like, spider such at the top. And then it's the periodicals at the bottom. I'm wondering... Can we look up you? We'll just go from the top. Key Genes Company was mentioned once in an article you already read about the head of Lang Tai, but then again later in 1994. There's a long article that spells out a huge controversy. It seems that a whistleblower came forward to the US government about Key Genes, which was said to have been founded in China by a partnership involving American and Chinese medical specialists who then built their medical facilities in the United States. The article mentions the whistleblower's claim. Key Genes will sometimes claim that they performed IVF when they did not. This would often be used as an excuse for an otherwise unexplainable pregnancy. They'd fly their clients to America, where they would stay for an extended period of time, then return to China with news of a successful IVF pregnancy. The whistleblower apparently presented the Department of Health and Human Services with credible evidence. At the time of the article, it was still an ongoing investigation, but Business Watch speculated, after copies of the proof were leaked to various media sources, that they couldn't imagine a world in which the company would be allowed to continue operations without facing serious legal or financial consequences. Did that? There we go. Okay. And we're missing one here. Again, I think it's very likely that you are a Roottree, because you were born 9 months after this party. Did I ever look up Nia Alves? Did I ever look up Nia? Like, where would... I'm like, I don't... Okay, well, there's that. I looked up Sonia Suarez. I don't know if I ever looked up Nia. So that would be... Okay, yeah, she appears to stay out of the spotlight. I mean, she's... Again, can we look her up in in a periodical. Oh, Nia Alves owns many forms of media in Brazil under the umbrella of Transmissão Paulo. Business Watch has mentioned her by name a few times. The most relevant appearance seems to be an article about the struggles of American media companies to do business with their foreign counterparts due to a difference in laws. A few media groups and countries are discussed, including those in Africa and the Middle East. Transmissão Paulo in Brazil is also discussed. Due to a lack of freedom of speech laws in Brazil, there has been added bureaucracy in publishing certain stories on Transmissão Paulo's channels. Nia is extremely private about her identity and supposedly once used her connections to have a reporter fired from a rival network and blacklisted. My goodness. There we go. Okay. Yeah, I'm pretty confident that you're a Roottrie. You were born 9 months after the party. We have everything for you. So these, you have asthma, you have a nut allergy. I'm wondering, are those indications that you're not? But then again, you were able to basically blackmail Guy into oh, there goes my time again. This episode is gonna go on for however long it goes on for. I'm just, I just want to keep track of how long it is going on for, so let's start my timer going again. Lovely jubbly. What was I saying? Yeah, you basically blackmailed Guy into giving you money for a new wing. I feel it's likely. Oops, excuse me. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. One okay, so we just have to fill this in. Doing this is I'm doing it. I'm doing it either way. Yeah, I think it would be. This happened too long ago with people who are long since dead, and we'd be DNA testing people who I think are a bit too far. They're too far away from the initial incident. You're not. I think you are. You're not. You are. You're not. You are. I think you are. I mean, he was giving her her payout was double what he was paying everyone else, and she was able to blackmail him into funding a new wing for the school. I think it's probably very likely. You definitely aren't, and I think you are. And that just leaves you. This has to be anonymous. This has to be anonymous. Let's where was the article? Okay. It was determined through a DNA test that Anonymous' daughter was not a Roottree. This article, which did refer to her daughter as Jane Doe Roottree, but did not coin the phrase anonymous, came before all that, right around the time of her first TV interview. This is a summary. An anonymous woman appeared on the cover of News Time shortly after 5Ps was confirmed to be a member of the Roottree family. In an homage to the previous cover, she holds a photo of her daughter. Unlike 5P, she wished to remain anonymous, and both photos were obscured. The anonymous woman claims to have had an affair with Guy Hudson while she was working as his secretary. She and another woman were hired at the same time during a transition period while many of the secretaries that had worked under Zach Morden were already gone. She says that she and the other woman were both underqualified as neither had typewriter experience. According to the other staff members interviewed, Guy had his own requirements for hiring women. Guy Hudson liked to throw lavish parties, and the longer he was president, the more excuses he found. The anonymous woman posits that these parties mostly seem to be an excuse to have after parties at Guy's home, featuring much more alcohol and other substances. She claims she slept with him at one of these after parties. She confronted Guy when she found out she was pregnant. Guy didn't seem fazed, and they came to an arrangement. He paid her a significant amount of hush money on a recurring basis under the table. She used it to move away and start a new life with her daughter. When Guy died, the money stopped coming, and she assumed things had run their course. She went back to work at the department store and hoped that nobody would ever look too closely at how she paid for her house. She told everyone that her daughter's father walked out one day and never came back. She claimed that after seeing the fantastic article in Newstime, she realised that she wasn't the only one this happened to. While she never worked at the Roottrie company at the same time as 5P's mother, Joanna, their stories seemed eerily similar, and she knew Felix was telling the truth right away. The article presented no tangible evidence of the anonymous woman's time at Roottrie, and all the payments were allegedly made in cash. However, using details that she provided to Newstime, their reporters were able to reach out to the other woman hired at the same time, who also remained anonymous. They successfully fact-checked the timeline of both women and confirmed the existence of the infamous after-parties. 5P's case was strengthened, and this news story was subsequently published. Okay. Well, I'm pretty sure because we're missing B. We're missing B. And I'm pretty sure I had narrowed it down to Beatrice Watts, who was hired alongside Corinne Schwartz. If we No, excuse me. I'm pretty sure nothing there. They do mention, they said that Newstime contacted the other woman. Is there anything? Oh! Corinne Schwartz comes up in a few articles from local news stations in Pennsylvania. Some of the people attempting to track down Anonymom were harassing her. She recently had to take leave of absence because people showed up at the car dealership where she works. She is begging people to stop the accusations so that she can get back to a normal life. In every article you find, the journalists involved have independently verified that she is not Anonymom. I think it's Beatrice. We're missing B. We're missing Butterscotch. Okay, I think... Okay, here's... I want to look up... I feel like I must have done this, but I just want to be sure. In periodicals... Actually, you know what? We're going to go through. We're going to go through. I could probably turn on the thing that's like, oh, search through all magazines, but like I'm right at the end. I might as well do it myself. Okay, an anonymous woman appeared on the cover of Newstime holding a picture of her daughter, Jane Doe Roottree. The first and only mention of the phrase Anonymom in Newstime came the week after, when they issued an apology for featuring her in the first place. A summary of the initial cover article has been added to your evidence. Okay. Oh! Piketty is not afraid to expose details that other publications would avoid. Shortly after the announcement that Jane Doe Roottree was not a Roottree, Piketty exposed personal details about the story of Anonymom under the headline, Anonymom the Anonicon. They said Anonymom worked as a manager at a department store in North Carolina, and her daughter's name was Courtney May. They also said that the woman that vouched for her famous cover story, they didn't identify Newstime, perhaps to avoid being sued, is named Corinne S., and that she had filed for bankruptcy. The article speculates that Anonymom and Corinne were in on it together, and even speculates that they might have been lovers. Piketty is not a credible publication. Their information wasn't particularly actionable. Very few people seem to notice. Okay, I'm coming back to you. I need to go through it. Otherwise it will nag in my brain. Team Blast. And then telephoto. Okay, Piketty. Courtney May, it was Beatrice Watts, right? Beatrice Watts. Brain. Right there. Watts. I'm thinking, can we... Courtney May. Hello? Ooh! Courtney May has a simple website with black text on a white background and a few images. From the view counter, you can tell you're one of only a few hundred people who has visited it. She's not shy about claiming she is Jane Doe Roottree. As proof, she has posted an unobscured cover from the time she was featured on Newstime, as well as a different picture of herself that appears to be a wedding photo. The website seems to be created in defense of her mother, who has been the target of public scrutiny. Under the headline, The True Story of Jane Doe Roottrie, courtesy of Courtney May Newton, formerly Watts. Courtney May writes, "Everyone has everything wrong. My mom approached the Rootrees before 5Ps was ever on the cover of Newstime. Nobody at the Rootree company took us seriously. They only listened to us after we appeared on TV and in magazines." The site has a scanned letter from the Ruby legal group to Courtney May's mother, Beatrice. In very polite legal terms, it seems to accuse her of exploiting their name and orders her to leave the Rootrees alone. It's dated from a few weeks before the 5Ps article appeared in Newstime, and it seems legitimate. Courtney May also discusses her mother's magazine feature in more detail. "Do you know how difficult it was to convince anyone to tell our story? My mom didn't want to show her face because everyone in the media we approached assumed she was lying, because her story was just like 5P's, but my mom's story was first. Mom was advised by Ryan and Cork to tell Newstime that seeing 5P's on the cover was what inspired her to go public, but that's the only way Newstime would agree to it and help get her on TV. But it's not true. Our story was first." Courtney's defense continues, but much of it seems repetitive and useless. Towards the end of her page, she discusses the DNA test and defends her mother's character. "My mom is amazing. She's the nicest woman in the world. She has diabetes and worked at a department store, but still managed to help pay for my apartment in the big city so that I could stay with my high school sweetheart. I got a degree in nursing, so I learned about DNA in college, but I'm beginning to think it's all a lie. Mom is 100% confident that there's nobody else who could be the father. Either they did the test wrong or DNA is complete BS. She's not a liar." Ooh, okay. Okay, show me. Show me. Hello there. This is the original, unobscured cover photo from the Newstime feature on Jane Doe Roottree and her anonymous mother. You found it on Courtney May Watts' website. Okay, let's grab those. Can we? Okay, we can. And then we have this. Oh, Courtney May and Danny together forever. Aw, that's cute. Courtney May Watts posted this photo on her website to prove her identity. It appears to be a wedding photo of hers. Aw, look at that red hair. Fuck a duck. Look at that red hair. That is... Guy. Guy. Those ginger jeans were strong. Okay, so... That is your husband, and then that is you. So you are Beatrice Watts. And it said she was a manager at a department store. There's retail. Yet manager isn't an option. I get, yeah, you'd say that's working retail. And then we had you, Courtney May. Did I point out the name Courtney May earlier? I'm pretty sure I said, "Oh, Courtney May, that's a nice name." You are Watts. Have I gone past it? No, I haven't. Aha. And you're in nursing. Right there. And then this was Danny. Danny. Ooh, hello. We have a Daniel. We have Daniel. And it was Newton. Let me just double check that. Danny. It would be... Yeah, Newton. Okay. And yeah, we don't need anything more from you. Okay. We're missing something here. We're either missing something that we can search for or something that is a clue. Look at that red hair. Look at it. Look at it. Admittedly, hair colour is not a good deciding factor of paternity, but still, you mentioned you were, Yeah, Ryan and Cork. Who is this? Ooh. Ryan and Cork is an unremarkable law firm based in North Carolina, named after its senior partners, Winston Ryan and Gregory Cork. The firm mostly handles local cases and recently represented Anonymon. Their website has a section about the case, including a scan of the DNA test results that proved Jane Doe Roottree was not a Roottree. Okay. Okay. So this is a DNA test you got from the website for the law firm Ryan and Cork. The test says that there was virtually no chance that Anonymon's daughter, Courtney May, was a Roottree. It lists the DNA from a Jane Doe was tested against the DNA of Bonnie Kellogg, née Hudson, Guy's twin sister. Ryan and Cork, who were representing Anonymon, have confirmed that the sample they sent to the Rootrees was definitely Courtney May's hair. The test is from a company called DNA Teco, and a doctor circled the results and signed the paper. Oh yeah, let me have a look at this. See, alleged paternal aunt, there's the child. I don't know dick about DNA. Yeah, 0.5% match, not related. Okay. This is a bunch of numbers, and I don't understand any of them. Okay. Okay. I mean, one clue. I noticed this. Hello. Oh. Oh, Dynatico. Dynatico, pronounced Dynatico, is a DNA testing company. DNA testing is a relatively new phenomenon that allows scientific laboratories to prove a possible family relationship between two people. It's fairly cutting edge. The method by which they test samples has only become standard in the last decade, as of the early 1900s. According to their site, Dynatico was responsible for the DNA test that proved Felix Fellows was a Roottree, and even use it as an example of how a DNA test looks. They use it to provide some information about their process. Whenever they take a sample in person, they put the name of the person on the test according... Excuse me, I do apologise. Remember to cut that out. Where was I? Whenever they take a sample in person, they put the name of the person on the test according to their legal ID, which is why it says David instead of Felix. Because Guy Hudson is dead and there is no known DNA source for Guy, they tested Felix's hair versus a hair sample sent from the Rootrees. It's listed as Jane Doe because it wasn't collected in person, but the Roottree company let them know it was from Bonnie Kellogg, Guy Hudson's sister. This is why it says it is a paternal aunt test. The left and right sets of numbers are essentially signatures that perfectly match the DNA of the two people in question, and nobody else. The way the test works is that if certain parts of the signature are shared, then it's very likely two people are related. As far as you can tell, Dynatico is a legitimate company. They don't seem to have any reason to create fake results or hide the truth. So what does... Okay, this is a DNA test you got from Dynatico's website. According to the website, it's a famous test that proved Felix Fellows was a Roottree. They received his permission to post it as their example for potential clients. The site says there is a 99% chance David Fellows is related to the alleged aunt who is listed as Jane Doe. As far as you can tell, Dynatico is a neutral third party that has been used by plenty of respectable companies. Okay, yeah, David Fellows, Jane Doe, but this is Bonnie. Same doctor, it looks like. Wait a minute. Let me see. These numbers are different. 14, 12, 13, 7, 8. Excuse you. Oh. Yeah, there's the confirmation. There's the confirmation. There we go. Yeah, there's the DNA test. There's the DNA test question. How? 13 out of 15. That's something to search up, and that's a periodical. There's 3 things there. All of them are things to search. I'm pretty sure that... That is going to annoy me because I'm pretty sure I've got everyone else. I could spend ages searching, but I'm pretty sure I think you are a Roottrie. I could spend ages searching for the last few pieces that I haven't found, but I think I have the answers. I think I have the answers. You can't be a Roottree because you have Huntington's. You definitely are because Gwen was spotted pregnant with her first son in her arms. I have no idea how we would prove this considering you're dead, Elias is dead. We'd be having to match, you know, the child's child of the child's child. Like, it just, no. You're adopted. They lied about adopting you, but I think you're a Roottree. You and Ruby are up to shit. Your guy's son. And Steve was like, yo, I will raise him as my own. Let's have another. The IVF, that's just a cover story. That's a cover story so that they wouldn't have the shame of like, oh, Jinyu got knocked up by someone and she's unmarried. You were born 9 months after the Brazil Christmas party. Your man was able to blackmail Guy into giving her a new wing for her school. And I think there was shenanigans in your DNA tests. I think I have all of the answers. I think I have all of the answers. Let's go. But first, hey, you did it finally. Family tree complete.
Beatrice and Courtney May. Clark, can you swing another test against Bonnie's DNA?
This time I'll be sure to have them verify both samples in person.
Good idea. 1 week later.
Using the family tree you filled out, as well as DNA tests, we were able to uncover the truth behind all the inconsistencies. Clark's handling the business, but I've come to thank you and fill you in on everything we've learned. Buckle up, because it's been one heck of a week.
I am buckled. I am buckled. Give me the deets.
Actually, that's an understatement. It's not every week you discover your family company is being sabotaged by someone they trusted. But that's the kind of time we've been having. Like I said, buckle up. Maybe grab some popcorn. We'll start with Guy Hudson. Guy had a frankly ridiculous number of potential children. What shocked me is how many graduated from potential to confirmed. We can even prove he was aware of them. The smoking gun was how he used company money to pay off a lot of women. He hid it with a method inspired by his idol, Elias. 5-piece flavors. The flavors he was paying to research were a ruse.
Yes!
He developed flavors based on the initials of the women he was paying. Which was really stupid, considering one of their names started with X.
Guy was stupid. Guy was stupid. He clearly never heard of condoms. Oh, it is satisfying seeing that spelled out.
Let's start with Christine. Guy was paying her under the name Caviar, but there were some other clues. James was born 9 months after Zach's party.
Ooh.
Christine was there with Guy, and when she got pregnant, she panicked. Steve stepped up. He even turned it into one of his recipe stories.
Good guy, Steve. Good guy, Steve.
Not all of Guy's affairs led to offspring. He may have slept with Robin Martin, but she didn't have children, so we'll never know. Also, not every child of Guy's affair partners were his. Robert Garland was born after his parents had already moved to Boston.
Yep.
Skipping Beatrice for now. Up next is Leng Xinyu. When Guy showed up in China, she was into America. And Americans. Dare I say redheads, even? When she got pregnant, her father paid key genes to fake IVF. They claimed her sister was unable to conceive. But her sister and Jerry had their own son, Mark.
Did no one question why Min stayed with Jinyu? Like, if the whole cover story was like, oh, we're doing this so that her sister and her husband can have their own child. Like, did no one question when the baby was born why the kid isn't being sent to America? Why the kid isn't being sent to the Hans? Did no one question that? There we go.
Sonia Alves was soon after. Nia was married at a very young age to a much older husband.
Oh. Her marriage in 1973 was not of her own choice. She essentially had her husband forced upon her as a child bride at the age of 15. Past appearances with her husband have been for show. They do not live together. Oh. I don't think I found that. What did I look, I must have just spider searched it. I can't remember. Ooh.
She resented him. I don't blame her. They allegedly spent no time together in private. Guy was in Brazil during Christmas 1979. It's the only Christmas not in the records. Flavio was born 9 months later, and like the others, Guy started paying Sonia. Last was Susan Ford, hired to translate for Guy's overseas trips. It's easy to read into Guy's donation to her school, but there's no definitive proof there. She and Guy were witnessed together near the end of his life. Susan's husband was convinced he couldn't be the father of her daughters. Guy, though, paid double. The price of twins.
Okay, so they were his.
So, what about 5 Ps? Felix Fellow's mother, Joanna, doesn't have a 5 pieces flavor. On top of that, his story doesn't really add up.
She was only his secretary for 1 or 2 weeks. Oh!
His mother already left the company by the time Guy became president, and his lyrics indicate he was born sometime around 1975.
Damn!
Alone, that wouldn't necessarily prove it. But there are some suspicious connections between Felix and the company's current lawyer, Ruby Spratt.
Yeah, the 1975, that went completely over my head. I don't do well with numbers. I've said it time and time again. I don't do well with numbers. It was this connection that made me suspicious. All of the little, points where Ruby's life and Felix's life interconnected. That's what got me. But I like that. He was born 3 years before Guy became president. I like that.
They both grew up in Portland, in foster care, and according to the local paper, they definitely knew one another. Ruby was the one who approached the Roottree to begin with. It was all a setup. Ruby and Felix saw my book's challenge to the Clancet Trust as an opportunity. His mother really had worked for Roottree, and Ruby was a respected lawyer. She exploited my family's greed, worked her way into control of the trust, and ensured Felix got a piece. But they made some mistakes along the way. If you look at the 2 DNA tests that Ruby handled, they were both supposedly tested against Bonnie Hudson. But the 2 signatures that should both represent Bonnie don't match. After Clark and I confronted her, Ruby lawyered up. Ironic, I know.
Oh.
We suspect Ruby had Donatico test Felix against his own mother's DNA. He had a hairbrush of hers. They sent the female sample in remotely. On the second test, Bonnie's sample was tested locally, but Courtney May's was not. Ruby's been throwing away samples. We think she sent her own hair instead of Courtney May's, but it could have been anyone's. Ruby and Felix were in cahoots. As for why, they were both advocates of wealth redistribution. A noble effort, but once they controlled the family fortune, they became just as greedy as the worst members of my family. The money corrupted them.
What was that line in his song? You say that money is the root of all your problems. Yeah.
They were so eager to personally wield the wealth for their own cause that they sabotaged any other claims.
Ah, fuck you.
That finally brings us to Anonymom, aka Beatrice Watts. Her tales of guys' parties and payoffs were true. She even approached Ruby before 5Ps was on news time. Ruby used Beatrice's truths to make Felix's lies feel real, then ruined the DNA test so that Beatrice looked phony in the public court of opinion. I feel worst for her in all of this.
Yeah, that you have that confirmation. I do hope that I don't know if it would be possible for Beatrice to get, some kind of public apology from the news sites that slandered her, but like I hope she gets something out of all of this.
While Ruby and Felix stole the show, there were some other potential new family members as well. Miracle Roottrie was less of an open and shut case.
Ah, what a dick.
That said, it's very likely he had a son with Mary Beth Clementine. Not Stuart. Mary Beth adopted him before she ever set foot in Butler County.
Funnily enough, wasn't it Stuart who thought he was a Roottree? And his wife, Regina, contacted Sam to be like, I think my son is actually a secret Roottree, and that no, not you, the other one.
That leaves Mark. The timeline fits. He showed up about 9 months after Mary Beth visited Miracle, and the basket baby story is a bit too convenient. If that's not enough on its own...
Hello!
He was also bailed out by the sister of Edith Roottree, Miracle Jr.'s wife, after she changed her name to win that silly contest.
Toasterito. I do wonder what she goes by. Like, obviously that's on, like, all of her legal documents, but, like, when she, like, if she goes to Starbucks, like, can I get your name for your order? Do you think she says, oh, my name is Lucinda, or my name is Toasterito?
Our best guess is that Mark was told by his mother whose son he was, and used that fact to put some pressure on Miracle Jr. We have no real proof of that, but nothing else really makes sense for why they'd be connected in that way.
I would love to see Miracle's face. When they do the DNA test on Mark, I would love to see Miracle's face. Oh, please, please. If you're not, but you are.
Elias's affair was the most ambiguous. Gwyneth was able to coerce Elias to do things he wouldn't have otherwise done, like pressure to include me in the family. My son even mentioned them arguing about someone named Beth. Combined with Gwyneth's lisp, it's possible the name was actually Bess.
Dad, my heart breaks every time I read that.
Unfortunately, all we know about Bess Williams is that she wrote his book and died not long after, leaving her only son an orphan. The timeline fits with Wildcat, but there's no record if she had any other relationship. Honestly, I wouldn't say we had enough evidence either way. I wouldn't be surprised if Elias cheated. Of course, I'm a bit biased. Regardless, we haven't gotten in touch with any of the Williams clan yet.
No, I think you're right. Man was a bitch. Man was a bitch.
That means we haven't been able to do a DNA test. As Clark mentioned, from here on out, all of our DNA tests will be in person for both parties.
Okay.
Lastly, we have a bit of a curveball. Ron Roottree isn't related to us by blood. Gwyn was definitely pregnant, so it's likely Robbie is. When Ron and Robbie went to visit their mother at the end of her life, something changed.
I said, why were we getting all of that information? Why were we getting all of that information on Ron and Robbie? This is why.
Additionally, there have been a few rumors circling around Ron. RR Productions canceled the Guys Like Us remake due to the director's illness.
Okay. I never looked up Guys Like Us remake, and I don't think I looked up RR Productions. I looked up Guys Like Us, I don't think I ever looked up the remake. RR Productions seem to have no projects listed in development other than Guys Like Us remake. According to leaked news, the remake has been put on indefinite hiatus due to its director, who is speculated to be Ron Roottree, dropping out in the wake of a serious medical issue, though that's only a rumour.
At the same time, Ron's wife Penelope began doing benefits for Huntington's disease, stating that she had become familiar with it. Huntington's is the same disease that Gwyn's former co-star Leslie Florence had. It's passed from parent to child. It can't skip a generation. Because Gwyn and Wild Bill didn't have Huntington's, and Ron seems to, it's impossible Gwyn was his mother. I recently confirmed all this with Ron.
Yeah. Oh, I don't think I looked up Wild Bill. He's in his 70s, still lives in Paris, and is in perfectly fine health. And I believe they said on the Huntington's page, I don't think they can live up until they're in their 70s. I think most of them die in their 60s, I think. Maybe? I might have made that up. It could have been that symptoms first start between the ages of 30 and 50. I remember that. I have in my head that people with Huntington's don't live long lives. Yeah, and then Gwyn died of pneumonia.
At the end of her life, Gwyn told Ron the story. Leslie and Bill had an affair the same year Leslie learned she had Huntington's. Leslie got pregnant.
Oh my god! So if that's the case, then Ron might not be a Roottree, but he is his brother's half-brother. They are related. They share the same father. Okay.
Leslie wasn't likely to survive to see her child grow up. And even if she did, she didn't want to be a burden. She begged Gwyn and Wild Bill to adopt her child.
Okay, on one hand, scumbag move, considering they were co-stars. I don't know if they were friends, but they at the very least worked together. Scumbag move to engage in an affair with this guy. Like, scumbag move on Leslie's part, but oh my god, Gwyn was a really nice lady. We didn't really learn much about Gwyn in the main game. But if Gwyn could say, you know what, I don't like what you've done, however, you've recently found out that you've got Huntington's, that's tragic, and I'm pregnant with Wild Bill's kid, that's my kid's brother. I don't want them going into the system or out like that. And you know what? It's not the kid's fault that their man engaged in shitty behaviour. So you know what? Give me the kid. Give me the kid. He'll be loved. Like, Gwyn! You expect, because Gwyn's the actress, you expect her to be vapid and, you know, like, oh, I want caviar on toast and I want it to be served to me by a poor person. Blah. Like, you expect that. You expect that from this Hollywood starlet, but no, it seems like she was a lovely lady. Oh my god, Gwyn!
Gwyn did. Mere weeks after she found out she was having her own son, she also took in Ron.
Good gal, Gwyn! Oh!
Wild Bill was a problem. Unreliable and a serial adulterer. Gwyn divorced him and never saw him again.
Dickhead Bill! We've got good gal Gwyn and Dickhead Bill. Oh my days.
Gwyn had already told Starlet she was pregnant, so it never really made waves when people saw her with a child in Paris. There was gossip during her divorce when she was discovered to be pregnant again. In actuality, it was the final months of her only pregnancy. To lay low, she stayed in Paris long enough that even her own family never had reason to question the timeline. It's one heck of a story, and frankly, nobody could be expected to piece the timeline together. Not with what few mentions of Gwyn's past have survived. But the Huntingtons itself? That's proof. Ron suing Robbie to remove him from the Clancid Trust was a huge moment in my story, and a major catalyst for this entire investigation.
And in hindsight, extremely ironic.
Finding out that it's been pretty much backwards this whole time has been a bit surreal. So that's where we're at. Looking over the information you sent us was invaluable. You got everything absolutely correct.
Woohoo!
Why did we even bother hiring a team? You figured it all out solo. All this information, this entire story, it's a lot, in more ways than one. Some of it has the potential to destroy marriages and ruin relationships.
And this is why we must wield it cautiously.
We're handling it all very, very carefully, but we couldn't have gotten here without you. And with that, I guess our tale has finally, truly come to an end. What a strange one it was.
Oh, damn. Damn.
No words can express how grateful I am to you for untangling this mess. Honestly, I've had enough of my family's eccentricities and scandals for one lifetime. I imagine you have as well.
Not at all. Not at all. This was a lot of fun.
And if not...
Oh?
Well, there's always Elias's and Gwyneth's brothers and sisters.
Pardon? Excuse me?
Attention, attention, Roottrees. This is 5 people coming at you from the real world. You know, the place you ain't ever lived in.
You say money is the root of all your problems. Root of all your
Man,
problems.
y'all are hypocrites, sitting back in your massive estates, built from the cash that your ancestors gave you, acting like you somehow deserve it, based on your family's creations. Yo. But looky here, sonny, don't you come for our money, or you might burn bright in hellfire someday, like that Madsen chick and her 2 dads. My pappy's Clancid Trust should keep you away. Yo, it's disturbing, catching a sermon from a geezer who's never known hurt, but blurts out these claims that somehow we're sinners, cause we didn't earn it. When all of your worth it came free with your name, you expect me to treat your lectures on greed as some expert creed from he without blame. How about instead, I turn my other cheeks and spread them. When you give me a kiss, you'll know just where to aim.
You say money is the root of all your problems. Let me take those problems away.
Whoever calls dollars the root of all evil, just trying to make small pursuits of real people. You silver spoon feeds you the world's purest treacle, while real world folks burning spoons with a needle. So once more with passion, tell this poor tragic orphan how your mansions and Porsches are actually horrible.
How I'm better off penniless, grasping for morsels. How wanting my share,
That's actually extortion. With your candy ass name, synonymous with sweets. Oh, you wanna call me classless? I'm gangster from Portland, but I play that game. I came up on the streets. The only streets you reppin' are Park Place and Boardwalk. Hypocrisy, monopoly is toppling. When I knock, have G's.
top off my pockets, please.
Cause the same God that got to steal my mom from me is what he wants, right? For you to live in poverty. And if you're suddenly not eager to unhand that fortune, that's unfortunate. I guess I'm gonna have to take my portion, and I'll do it all legally. Class action, courtrooms, decorum. I'm way past your fancy ass dormant.
You say money is the root of all your problems. Let me take those problems away.
Bring the choir in.
You say money is the root of all your problems. Let me take those problems away.
Yeah.
You
trying to make small pursuits of real people. You silver spoon feeds you the world's purest treacle, while real world folks burning spoons for the needle. Whoever calls dollars the root of all evil, just trying to make small pursuits of real people. You silver spoon feeds you the world's purest treacle, while real world folks burning spoons for the needle. Whoever calls dollars.
Oh my goodness! And there we are! Okay, one, I like that we got a repeat of All Your Problems for the ending credits. Two, the news anchor! The news anchor was the creator of the game! I love that! That was, oh my day, that was wonderful. You might have seen my mouse moving at the end there. That was because I was a bit worried that the game had crashed. I was like, what's happening? What's going on? Oh my goodness, that is the end. That is the end of Roottreemania, and the Rootrees are dead. I feel sad now. I would love to play a game where we investigate Elias and Gwyneth's brothers and sisters. I would love to do that, but I don't think that actually is a thing. That I really enjoyed this. I really, really enjoyed my time with this game, and I am so sad to say goodbye to it. I mean, I can see down here the incident at Galley House. I assume that's their next game, and I know nothing about this. I haven't looked into this game in the slightest, but I do believe I will be. I think I will be, having a peruse and seeing what it's about. If it's in any way similar to the Rootrees Are Dead, then I will definitely be adding it to my wish list. This was just grand. This was absolutely great. I loved this game. I loved this experience. Oh, I'm gonna be so sad to say goodbye. I'm so sad that I have to, finish this. I don't even know what I'll be playing next. I haven't had a vote. My channel members haven't decided what I'll be playing next, so I can't say what I'll see you next in. But, that's all for this episode. So whatever I end up playing next, I hope to see you there. But until then, please remember to like if you enjoyed, leave a comment below, and if you wanted to subscribe, it would be very much appreciated. A special thanks to my channel members, such as SM2K, Christopher K. Davis, CGG, and Kevin Bicknell. I've been Callista. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next episode.